I interviewed Jim Mora this week about Josh Rosen. Me and you have been talking since before your back surgery about interviewing Josh Rosen about Josh Rosen. I got Jim Mora about Josh Rosen and ended up working better than Rosen could have worked out. Because the question really is, Josh, why have you been such a massive disappointment? And maybe Josh can't answer that question. Or if he could, he doesn't want to. Mora can answer that question because no one knows Rosen better than Mora. And he did answer the question in detail for about 10 minutes. It was an interesting journalistic exercise, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd really like to talk about that. What he said basically is that Rosen has all the tools, but he may not have the temperament or the devotion to football to realize his talent and to become a starting quarterback.
Yes.
He was important because he told you that he's known Josh since he was 15. Obviously, he was identified. And Josh grew up in LA, right?
Yes. Yes.
So this is a head coach at UCLA.
He was identified as a prodigy in both tennis and football at like 14. The guy has been big deal since a kid.
And Mora was the UCLA coach. It was his sphere of influence, and he knew who was there.
Yes.
He likes him very much. When I was a columnist at the Chronicle, and I had a lot to learn, Ira Miller, I learned so much from Ira. And he said, Lowell, don't ever worry if a player doesn't want to talk to you. He said, talk to people around him. Yeah. You'll learn more. Call up an agent, call up another general manager, call up another coach. And you want to know about player A, you can probably learn more about player A from these other sources than you can from player A.
Yes.
Well, that's what happened. I had suggested to Iggy that he contact Rosen through his agent or whatever. Iggy didn't do it. And it kind of bugged me, actually. But then all of a sudden he got Mora, and Mora had more perceptive things to say about Rosen and was more candid than Rosen ever could have been. So that was a clear journalism example of learning about A by going to B and not going to A and getting candor. Now, Iggy, I have to notice that in the last few weeks, you've gotten a one-on-one with Joe Montana and with Jim Mora Jr.
Yes.
How did you get Mora?
Mora now is working for Sports Illustrated.
Oh.
So I have 3 one-on-one interviews scheduled with him, and he's going around working with a lot of the publishers on the team sites. And it just so happened that I could really ask him a good topic. I mean, I've been wanting to do a story about Josh Rosen. He knows Josh Rosen. It was a natural. So it just worked out.
In addition, he was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers.
He certainly was. Yes.
He certainly was. So he has a pedigree in that building and background with that team. So he may be able to talk to other SI publishers about their teams, but not like he can talk to you about your team.
That's right. Absolutely. He's a 49er.
He's a 49er.
Yeah.
And what other topics would you like to ask him about?
Well, I don't know. What would you want to hear from Jim Mora about with the Niners?
I'd like to ask him about their defense.
Yes.
What the hell? He was a defense coordinator. Do you like their scheme? What do you think will happen now that Salah's gone? Who's your favorite player on the defense and why?
Yeah.
What do they need to improve?
Yeah.
That's easy. And if Jimmy is still on the team, that would be the third topic. How do you think they're handling quarterbacks?
Yes.
That's what I'd like to know.
Yes. Well, I'll get him again in about 2 weeks. So we'll see him. We'll see what he has to say.
Hey, I have a funny story about his father.
Okay.
And it was in the book I wrote years ago about Bill Walsh. Bill told me this story one time. We were drinking and he was getting pretty happy. And Jim Mora Sr. was the coach of the Saints for a long time.
Yes.
One night
in the Niners division.
Yeah. So one night, Mora and his wife go out to dinner and they come back and there's a bunch of burglars robbing the house. Uh-huh. And Mora comes in and they put a gun on him. Uh-huh. And they're taking out the couch and the television and Mora's standing there. And while he's standing there, one of the robbers says, "Hey, you're the Jim Mora, you're the coach of the Saints." Uh-huh. And he goes, "Yeah." He's pissed. He goes, "Yeah." And the guy said, and as they're robbing at gunpoint, he says, "You really need to improve your secondary, and I don't like what you do with your middle linebackers." And he starts giving him advice while he's robbing them
at gunpoint. You got to improve that secondary. You got to improve that secondary.
According to Bill, that really happened. It's like a skit from TV.
We need a ball hawk in center field. What's that about? We had 3 interceptions last year. Got to figure that out, coach. Don't make me come back here.
Don't make me come back here.
That was funny. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
you could
funny.
ask Jim Mora Jr. about that. Bill Walsh told me that. It's
Did
in
your
my
dad
book.
ever tell you about the time he got held up at gunpoint and was fed suggestions about how to run his team? Maybe those are the best suggestions he ever got. Who knows?
I love it, Iggy. I think it's a scream.